2025 is officially here. Now, January typically can be a very quiet time for indie releases, but luckily, I was able to find 15 upcoming indie games that you can play this month. Hey there, I'm CGDannyB, and I really like indie games. I like sharing them with you guys. And today, I'm just here to kickstart the new year with a bunch of dope indie games that you probably haven't heard about yet. Now, I know this video is much later than it usually is, but that's mainly because I was working on my Game of the Year video and I just got behind on everything. Which, if you haven't seen yet, you should definitely tab it up to watch right after this one. Now, because this video is so late, a lot of the games in it are already out. So this time around, it's a lot less waiting than usual. But real quick, before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor and like the video, it just helps more people see it and hopefully stick around to learn more about indie games. Now look, I don't know why, but I got a good feeling about 2025. So I'm aiming big for our sub goal. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time to do it, or else you'll be the one behind when the channel pops off. But anywho's azzles, here's 15 upcoming, or already released, indie games that you can play in January. In this challenging puzzle game, you'll order your units to work together to help bring your enemies to their knees. This is Götz, a turn-based strategy game set in 15th century Europe that features an adorable medieval storybook style. And as you complete each mission, you'll be rewarded with fully voice-acted narrative pieces. But you're really gonna have to earn them. Götz is not an easy puzzle game. The game was designed for a long commute or a rainy night in where you're ready to invest in the game. So for my cozy casual gamers out there, just know what you're about to get yourself into. But for the low price of $5 for an 8-ish hour experience, it sounds like a solid deal to me. So if you're ready to really challenge your mind, Götz is available right now on Steam. Who would have ever guessed fishing was the one thing that could save the world? This is Sea Fantasy, an action RPG where you're tasked with baiting up your lure and exploring this vast pixel art world to capture all the fish you can find. Explore the world as two young men, and whenever you stumble across a shadow in the water, you'll hit the corresponding button to start your fishing minigame. Then explore even further as you unlock your own boat that'll freely take you across the wide oceans to find new locations to fish. And when you need a break from the fishing, you can search through the dungeons to beat bosses, find new materials, and craft even better fishing rods. Listen, it's a fishing game. If you're expecting a lack of fishing, you're crazy. But surprisingly enough, Sea Fantasy is filled with epic story beats that'll take you away from the peaceful fishing trip and thrust you into some insane world-ending cutscenes. So if you're feeling like taking a nice fishing trip and don't really want to touch the icky worms to do it, then you can check out Sea Fantasy right now on Steam, as well as PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles. This game is what happens when you take an RPG, combine it with roguelike mechanics, and sprinkle in some pinball gameplay. This is Pinball Storm Lokanta. As part of the resistance against plutocracy, which was a brand new word for me too, it just means you don't like countries run by rich people. You'll use your pinballs to defeat wave after wave of enemies. The further you progress and the more bosses you defeat, the more companions you'll meet and new marbles you'll unlock, granting you new perks and elemental attacks. Rack up those points and start mutilating the armies of your enemies by watching your pinball bounce around, dealing nasty amounts of damage. And the team behind the game is already planning out the roadmap for future content, including an endless mode, new pinballs with new effects, and 8 new Adesantas? That's another new word for me, but it looks like it means characters, and new characters sounds great. So if you've been looking for your next Vampire Survivors clone that has a unique twist on the gameplay, then be sure to check out Pinball Storm Lokanta right now on Steam in Early Access. This brand new chocolate factory has just opened up, and luckily, you don't need a golden ticket to get in. As the next upcoming master chocolatier, you'll enter the world of steam and sugar to craft gourmet chocolate for your customers in a steampunk workshop. No customer coming to your factory is alike, so you have quite the assortment of clients from various lands coming to find their favorite kind of chocolate. Make the chocolate, form it into unique shapes with different colors, and decorate the box that it comes in to give each customer a personalized experience from your shop. And I know, that sounds like a lot of work, but thankfully, you have Nougat, your adorable chocolate making robot. Give him a task and watch him go to work. Put in the effort and you can become the greatest chocolate factory in town. Not that I'm aware of any other ones, but still, being the best is the best. Chocolate Factory Simulator is available right now on Steam, and if you want to try before you buy, you can play the demo of the game first. This visual novel takes us back to 2011 so that we can find love and meaning. Get ready for S4U Citypunk 2011 and Love Punch. Yep, that's the name. In this immersive sim filled with memes and typing up messages, you'll take on the role of Mickey, using your online persona to make meaningful decisions for you and your clients. Set in the fictional modern city of Castor Yard, Mickey works part-time as a chatter for her clients, causing her to meet a wide variety of folks online. You'll essentially just be smacking your keyboard to see what pre-established responses the game has for you, but if you happen to hate what the game gives you, you can delete it and try for something else. And while you're waiting on responses from other people, you can play some fun minigames like constructing 3D models of buildings. Just keep your eyes peeled for those notifications. Fans of the classic series Emily Was Away are bound to fall in love with this modern take on the text adventure genre. So if you're looking to feel something nostalgic or understand what us old folks used to use to message one another, then this game is just what you need. And you can dive into a deep adventure that's all about how you choose to talk to people when you pick up S4U Citypunk 2011 and Love Punch on Steam. This first-person walking sim is great for fans of games like Firewatch and Gone Home. Welcome to the haunting of Joni Evers. Experience the emotional story of a small-town Oklahoma family who's been broken apart by a malevolent haunting. Explore the Cunningham home, a quiet and secluded mansion where Joni lives alone. Uncover the mysteries of Joni's family, from looking at old photographs to stepping through creepy glowing doors that you really shouldn't with, but you're going to anyway, I'm sure. Roam the haunted halls of this not-so-empty mansion while you listen to a fully voice-acted narrative backed by an original soundtrack from the same composer of Payday 3. Get prepared for that strange tingle that creeps down your spine every time you round the corner into the next dark hallway when you check out The Haunting of Joni Evers on Steam. Now here's the game we've been waiting for quite some time, and if you aren't familiar, this is Hyper Light Breaker. From the same team behind Hyper Light Drifter and Solar Ash, Hyper Light Breaker is a 3D adventure that looks like it's really going to scratch that Risk of Rain itch. Enter the Overgrowth, alone or with friends, as you hack and slash through hordes of enemies in an ever-changing world with large-scale biomes. Each world is procedurally generated, making each run different from the last, generating unique enemies, loot, layouts, and more. Battle over and over again to unlock new upgrades and weapons for your arsenal, so you can return to your settlement with better resources to help yourselves thrive. Now, I am a sucker for Heart Machine's visual style, and this is just the first game that we're getting from them in 2025. So we're in for a visual treat this year. Now, to be fully transparent, this game currently holds a mixed review score on Steam. And after getting a review code and putting a few hours in already, I gotta say, I get it. But I'll give you my full thoughts on next week's podcast. For now, just go into it knowing what you're getting into. But if you still want to play, you better start typing up that message where you're begging your friends to pick up this new game, because you can grab Hyper Light Breaker right now on Steam in early access. This cyberpunk side-scroller is here to make you look like an absolute badass. This is Blade Chimera. As the demon hunter Shin, you'll obviously battle demons while you regain your lost skills and find out the truth about your past. After losing your memories, you make a deal with a demon who can turn into a sword and manipulate time. Honestly, I don't trust her, but Time Sword. How could I possibly say no? Battle insanely brutal bosses as you traverse through a corrupted world by using your demon buddy to make platforms, rewind structures, and shield you from the nasty demons that you're fighting. And sometimes when your demon sword just isn't doing the trick, you can trade her out for some other tools in your arsenal, like a great sword, a whip, or maybe even some guns. Honestly, this game is giving me some major Katana Zero vibes, so I already know I'm interested in checking it out. And if you are too, you can snag Blade Chimera on Steam and Nintendo Switch right now. So tell me, are you interested in an indie rock concert set in outer space? Then I gotta show you this new game, Asterism. Join astronaut Ruby as she embarks on an emotional journey of self-discovery by means of gorgeous handcrafted visuals. Immerse yourself in a cosmic symphony about chasing mysterious signals throughout the stars as you climb into your spaceship and follow the echoes of the forgotten songs across the galaxy. You'll skate across frozen seas, paint lines across alien landscapes, and explore new planets, each with their own soulful soundtrack. This game was made by Claire Moorfield, a solo developer who meticulously handcrafted just about everything you're gonna see in this game. Every adorable origami fold and clay model was made by her own hands, and I'm a sucker for an adorable artsy game. And to quote the Steam page, Asterism was inspired by the feeling of sitting on the window seat of a bus, music echoing in your ears as you glimpse momentary details amidst the blur of passing lights. That's a lot of feeling in one quick sentence, but I'm all for it. And if that sounds like a vibe to you, you can play Asterism on Steam right now. For fans of games like Vampire Survivors, I've got another one for you, but this one is set in Norse mythology. Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hel is a 3D action roguelike where you aim to earn the divine blessing of the ancient gods. Jotunnslayer is some of the most adrenaline-fueled battles that I've ever seen in a roguelike, forcing the player to stay on their toes as they complete various objectives and defeat bosses to earn ultimate prizes. Choose your character from a diverse roster and level yourself up as you dive deeper through the 9 worlds. And these bosses may be some of the scariest stuff that I've ever seen in a Survivors-like game before. Like, look at that thing! I'm gonna need a bit more equipment if you want me to take that thing on. So if you're ready for the trials of battling some of Norse mythology's toughest foes, then sharpen your blades and prepare to take down a butt ton of enemies when Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hel releases on Steam in early access starting January 21st. We've all had those moments when your parents are on their way home and we totally forgot to do the one thing they asked of us, right? Well, in Dad's coming, you and a friend must work together to get the house in tip-top shape before your father gets home. Playing as both Kate, the older sibling, and her little brother Bob, you and a buddy will chaotically run around the house, tossing each other furniture, appliances, and whatever else you find lying around in order to put it back where it belongs. Just be careful, because breaking things is not going to earn you any brownie points. Also be sure to watch out for Jack, your pet cat who loves to knock things off the counter. And this is why I'm a dog person. Experience the thrill of speed cleaning in this overcooked-like action co-op campaign, and try to get through the day without getting grounded. It's time to grab your co-op buddy and get cleaning when Dad's Coming releases on Steam starting January 21st. Mika's back and she's ready for her full release. Take the movie Kiki's Delivery Service and turn it into a video game. This is Mika and the Witch's Mountain. Take on this enchanting adventure set to charm players with its whimsical world and captivating gameplay that blends exploration with lighthearted magical mechanics. Step into the shoes of Mika, an aspiring young witch determined to prove herself by delivering magical packages across a fantastical island. From dropping off an old fisherman's lunch that he left at home, to making sure that this lost fish has a fishbowl to call home. This story centers on Mika's journey to master her craft, while uncovering the secrets of the island and its quirky inhabitants. You'll navigate through a vibrant open world, using your broomstick to soar through the skies and traverse diverse landscapes. I backed Mika on Kickstarter a while back and thoroughly enjoyed how peaceful and cute the early access build was. And with the full adventure just being around the corner, I can't wait to explore even more of this magical world. So if you're ready to take flight, Mika and the Witch's Mountain upgrades to version 1.0 on Steam and Nintendo Switch, and finally releases on PlayStation and Xbox starting January 22nd. This is a real-time strategy stealth game about 5 prisoners banding together to face their greatest fears and find a way to escape. From the same team that brought us Blasphemous, the Stone of Madness takes place in a madhouse located in an 18th century Spanish monastery. Taking on the roles of 5 cruelly punished and mad-driven inmates, you'll pull your skills together to break out of this terrible place. But that's definitely easier said than done. Jump between these 5 different characters, assassinate targets, distract them, and stun evil spirits to clear your path on the way to freedom. And in the right situations, you can even combine character skills to find clues and tools to make your escape a bit easier. Each prisoner also comes with a deep list of traits and phobias that you have to keep in mind while playing. And if you don't, you'll trigger traumatic events that negatively impact your gameplay. Discover the secrets within, sneak past every guard you can find, and escape with your lives when the Stone of Madness releases on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox on January 28th. This game is a modern take on Shadow of the Colossus mixed with some Monster Hunter. Take down epic creatures with a combination of enchanted weapons and magical powers in eternal Strands. This third-person action adventure puts you in the shoes of Bryn, a young weaver determined to recover the lost cultural home of her people. Armed with some basic weapons and a handful of magical spells, you'll head out on your own adventure to take down these gigantic beasts. But it's not always about just beating them to death. Each massive creature has a special way of defeating them, giving you the opportunity to harvest their strands and level up your spells, which will give you far more variety in not just how you battle, but also how you construct your armor, weapons, and more. Take advantage of the world around you, like using your weapons to enhance your spells, climbing on nearly any surface you can see, and literally throwing the structures around you to damage your foes. In Eternal Strands, the world is your weapon, and you can see that for yourself when the game releases on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox on January 28th. Plus, it'll be available on Game Pass day 1. This dice-driven RPG is back and ready to take over your life all over again. In Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector, you play as an escaped android with a malfunctioning body, as well as a hefty price on your head. And sadly, you don't remember any of your past. Now your goal is to get a ship, find a crew to help run it, and take on various contracts to help you get across the Starward Belt. You'll choose your class, configure your skills, and travel across space with the returning tabletop-inspired gameplay systems. All about rolling dice and putting them towards completing tasks the best way that you can. And this time around, Citizen Sleeper is introducing push abilities, unique skills that come with each class that can help you in a pinch. Be that helping with a difficult job, re-rolling your dice, or even focus on betting that one single die on everything. Reboot, rebuild, and repair when Citizen Sleeper 2 rounds out the month on January 31st for Steam, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. And it will also release day 1 on Game Pass. And there you have it, 15 upcoming / already released games that you can play this month. Moving forward, everything should hopefully be on track to release these videos earlier in the month, but for now, we're just turning in this assignment a bit late. Now, if you're looking for the best place to find out about upcoming indie games, as well as get the most best friend telling you about a game type of reviews, then this is a channel that you want to subscribe to. And as your new unofficial best friend, I'm also going to ask you to hit that like button because it helps the channel grow, meaning I get to focus a lot more on the channel and bring you amazing content. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.